So when I was on the Hotshot crew that I started on, was Groveland Hotshot crew off the Stanislaus. We were right outside the Yosemite border boundary, and we were just getting ready to end our shift for the day at the station. Did our typical station day, and we got dispatched to a fire in El Portal in Yosemite, which is kind of the front country of Yosemite. So there's a lot more brush component, and just starting to get into some of the timber. And that whole area is notorious for poison oak. And so as a sawyer, you don't really have any choice sometimes with where the fire line is going to be. It'll burn in poison oak, it'll burn in trees, it'll burn in whatever it wants to burn in, and you don't have a choice. If you're going direct, see that big patch of poison oak? That's where we need the line. And so on that particular fire, we got there in the evening, probably about 7 o'clock by the time we engaged and started cutting line up the hill. And it started to get dark. Everybody got their headlamps on and started working through. And I was the lead saw at the time, so I was kind of out in front, kind of pioneering the line. And so not really being able to see what you have and you're working with because it's dark, and just the I wouldn't say chaos, but the excitement that goes along with the initial attack. You just start working. And so we came up to this big wall of brush, or so I thought, but it turned out to be the biggest pile of poison oak that I've ever seen in my career. And it was just massive, and it was, but I didn't know it was poison oak at the time. I just thought it was, a mixture of different brush or whatever. So, after we get through that, it was probably a good hour or 2 hour cut just going through this big wall of poison oak. And towards the end of it, I remember my squad leader came down and he said, "Hey, do you get poison oak?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, just wanted to check because all this was poison oak." And I was like, "Oh, great." So by the time we're going through this, and I remember as I was cutting up this steep bank, I'd slipped a few times, and I would have fell down this little ravine, or not ravine, but a little drainage type thing. And I slipped and I fell while we were cutting in this big pile of brush. And luckily, I got hung up by a big old vine of poison oak that came around like this underneath my chin, and it stopped me from sliding down, which is good. So I was able to grab it and pull myself up. But the next day, I had a kind of a rash under here, or a pretty significant rash, and like a rug burn where I got hung up by the vine of poison oak, and I was swollen to no end. Like my forearm and my arms, it was all the same size all the way down. It was just swollen poison oak. I didn't have forearms. It was just all one swollen mess on my arms and all over my body, and it was miserable because we work night shift, and so you sleep in the day. So we went down to the fairgrounds in Mariposa, and in mid-August it's the most miserable place you could be for a base camp, and it was hot and miserable and sweaty, and I had poison oak like I'd never had before, and it was a bummer. Yeah. When you're a sawyer, you get slapped in the face with brush, you get scratched by, stobs, you get all kinds of beat up happens to you because you're kind of in front and there's no openness. You create the openness for the hand toolers to scrape through. So in working in poison oak, and one of the big things is with it when you're running the saw, that saw chips go flying everywhere, And the big thing is, they'll get shot up into your shirt collar, and they'll go down into your shirt and then work their way down around. And when you're cutting, you get scratched by the brush, and if you're in poison oak, well, then you have these open wounds that absorb the oils from poison oak, because that's where you get the itchiness from, is the oils that are in the poison oak. It'll get into those, and it'll turn into these weird blister-looking things that you can't scratch because they'll bleed, but then you end up scratching them because you have to, because you can't stand not doing it. And then you get the poison oak chips that go in your shirt, so it ends up spreading all over you because you sweat, and sweat drips down, and it's not fun at all. Yeah, that's poison oak for you.